Look at that, we are live. All right, Synth, can you hear me? No, push to talk still works. Let me make sure all my settings are correct.
What's up?
What's
You are
up?
pressing. You are speaking now.
I think I'm live all of a sudden. I don't
Are
know
you?
how it started
Whoa.
working, but
Let me check. Whoa, you are literally live, and I see on your screen that's the that's a Tetris.
that's Tetrio. All right. Let me hop in call with Tyrone.
Okay. See
We'll
ya.
see ya. We'll be
I'll be
debating
watching.
liberal utilitarianism and universal health care.
Oh, there we go. Hello.
Hello, how's it going?
It's pretty good.
That's
I've
good.
been a heavy contrarian today.
Nice, doing your job as a Twitter anarchist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you wanted to talk about healthcare
Healthcare and liberal
utilitarian?
liberty utilitarianism. Down to whichever one you want to talk about first.
Um. Let's just go straight into libertarian utilitarianism because that will get us the fundament. I guess that will get us our principles to move the conversation forward. I guess.
All right,
Right.
perfect. And you're an egoist, right?
Yeah, I would describe myself as a weak anarchist, right? Where I believe that the state is illegitimate, but that the state doesn't ought to be abolished.
But it's not to be abolished.
It's not ought to, right? I'm just saying that you don't have to follow it, right? It's an illegitimate rule, so you don't have to follow it, right? But it doesn't need to be abolished, right? There's no inherent need.
Okay, so would it be good or bad if it was abolished?
I'm a moral anti-realist, so I don't actually think anything is good or bad. I'm a complete nihilist in that regard.
Okay, so you're a moral nihilist. Are you
Yeah.
an error theorist or some other type of moral nihilist?
I just don't I just simply don't believe you can justify any form of morality.
Okay.
That's objective.
So, do you think that all moral statements are false, or do you think that
I think any normative claim is false.
Okay. Why?
You can't really make it. Because it's just there's nothing indicating towards it, right? Hold on, I have something written about this.
What does it mean for institution to be delegitimate or illegitimate? Sorry.
Simply that it doesn't what do you mean? Do you want me to explain why it's illegitimate, or do you want?
I want to know what it means for it to be illegitimate. Because to me, illegitimacy would be a moral claim, a not claim.
That it just simply does not have the right.
But you think nothing has the right to anything, right? You think there are no rights. So
yeah, so it doesn't have the right. Yeah, it's illegitimate.
Okay, so then everybody's illegitimate, right?
Sure.
Okay, so what's the point of pointing out the state as illegitimate?
I'm just simply stating that it is.
Okay. Wouldn't stateless societies also be illegitimate?
Stateless? It can be.
It would have to be, right? No matter what it did, it wouldn't have the right to do it. So it would be
yeah, I don't think
it would be illegitimate.
Right. I don't think there's an inherent right to anything.
Yeah, so then stateless societies would be equally illegitimate.
Yeah, sure.
So yeah, I just don't see the point of associating it all with anarchism at that point.
That's why it's called weak anarchism, right? I don't think that the state ought to be abolished. I just think it's illegitimate. Right. I don't care if stateless society were to occur. I just don't think the state's rule is legitimate.
But the stateless society's organization would be equally illegitimate, right?
Would it be equally as illegitimate? Sure.
Yeah, so like, it's kind of like a pointless statement to make. There's no reason to say it.
I'm just simply stating it. That's all.
Okay.
That's all. Thinking it's not that deep.
So I don't think that you think that there's nothing that we ought do, right?
Yeah.
Then why do you do things?
Because I want to, or just in general, like I'll do things because I want to.
Because you have a preference for them?
Not inherently. Like I could do things that are not preferential to me.
What's the difference between a want and a preference?
Well, we could run that it's not different, but from my understanding, at least, that preferences would be what you like. Oh no, I guess they kind of are the same thing. Okay, yeah, fair enough. Sure, because I want to do things.
Cool. Yeah.
It's just self-evident, like it's self-authorizing, right, or authoritating.
So this want on its own seems to have some sense of compulsion. We don't necessarily have to use like ought words or anything like that. We can just say like this is what you should rationally want to do,
I'm
right?
I wouldn't say rationally. I mean, probably as rational as it can probably be, but yeah.
What my argument is going to be what you should rationally want to do, right? So the thing is, if you're going to have like a certain set of wants, if you're going to have like a certain set of like desirable or preferable experiences that you're going to seek out or that you're going to push towards this like these inputs. If you're going to have a certain set of inputs that are going to be positive.
No, before that. Sorry.
I'm not sure what I said. What are you talking about? I'm sorry.
No, well, I just missed what you just last said. It's fine if you pick up from where you just left off. I just missed what you said.
Okay, sorry.
No problem.
So
it just cut out. That's not your fault.
So if we just take this like what you would rationally want to do, because I assume that part of your wants are to be rational, right?
I don't like necessarily believe in rationality. Like, what do you mean by rationality? Explain it.
I would use rationality as a semantic prime, but I can point to you like the rules of logic would be like the law of non-contradiction, the law of identity, things like this that we would like,
I don't think
all
you
agree
ought
are logical.
to do things rationally then, right?
What do you mean?
So you don't have to do things that are like in accordance with reason or logic.
You don't have to, but you want to, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so this rationality is going to be it's going to have a compulsive nature to it.
Yeah, but just because you have a reason to do it doesn't mean you ought to do it.
Again, we don't have to use ought statements. We can just use what you want to do, right? So if you have like a certain set of like wanted or preferential inputs that you're seeking.
Fair enough, yep.
Then do you value like these inputs just when they reach your sensors, or do you value these inputs like
just mine. I don't care about others.
Okay, in that case, who are you?
Well, I'm me. Like, what do you mean?
Sure.
Who am I?
So when I say like what makes you over time, right? Your atoms are going to replace themselves every year. Your cells are going to replace themselves every 7 years.
In this current instance, right? So yes,
just
I'm an ever-changing concept.
So just your current wants.
Yeah.
Okay, if we take just your current wants, right, you're never going to be able to change the inputs that you're currently experiencing. So there's no reason for you to want anything for anyone because the thing that exists in the future isn't you, and you can't affect yourself.
Yes. So I will only do things that I want to do currently.
No, not things that you want to do currently, right? The thing, and what I'm saying is that your set of wants, right? That this is an irrational set of wants because you prefer them for what you think is you, but you don't actually exist in the future. This is you being irrational.
But I don't want anything in the future.
Okay, so then what do
Sorry,
you
maybe
want?
I'm misunderstanding what you're saying.
It seems
I
like when you
believe.
say like there's like when you want something, right? If you're gonna go get something to eat it's gonna be because you want to eat, right? But it's not actually
Mm,
you that's going to be eating. It's gonna be some person that exists in the future that's actually gonna get that food and enjoy it.
yeah, sure, but I want to move to eat at least. So that person in the future will eat.
Yeah, so why are you valuing that person in the future?
I'm not.
You're valuing them eating, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm valuing them eating, but I'm not valuing them.
Okay, why do you value them eating?
Uh, I just do. It's a desire I have.
Okay. There's no reason for you to choose this person over anyone else?
Uh, let me think about that. Is there any reason for me choosing not really, no.
Okay, so then it seems pretty silly to like to just be acting in this person's interests, right? It would seem like very irrational.
Why? Why is it irrational?
Because you don't have any
And
reason
also, I don't
to.
know that if that person in the future wants that thing, right? I
You
just
don't
want them
know,
to do
but
it.
you don't know. But the reason that you want them
I
to
don't
do it
know.
is you have a pretty good idea that they probably will, right? You have a strong inductive case for it.
Not really. I mean, have you ever
Well,
like
you're
went
hungry.
backwards? like let's say you want an apple, right?
Hmm.
So you get up to get it, and then you go back because you don't actually want the apple anymore, right?
So a strong inductive case would just be like not that it's always true, but that most of the time it's true, right? Most of the time, if you're hungry
Uh,
and you go to get food, you're going to get food and you're gonna get the food because you want to eat it
sure,
and
but
you're
I
gonna
wouldn't say
eat
it's
it.
inherent.
It's not inherent, no, but you have a strong inductive case.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool. So if you have a strong inductive case, this is gonna be the reason that you want that person to eat, right? Is because you want to
Uh,
satisfy what you believe their desires to be in the future.
yeah.
Okay.
So I wanted to satisfy their desire to eat, and if they don't want to do that, then they have all the right not to.
Sure, cool. So again, why this person over anyone else?
Why over anybody else?
Yeah.
Like I don't understand the question.
What? Why would you? So again, you want this person that exists in the future, right? This person that like you will colloquially call you that isn't actually you.
Mm-hmm.
You want this person in the future to eat. Why is that something that you want? It seems like value.
It's just it's self-authorizing. I just want it. Right?
Okay, but you want things for reasons, right? You don't just like want
Yeah,
random
because I
things
want
and
it. That's my reason. What?
well, okay.
The reason I want it is because I want it. It's self-authorizing, right? I want to do it because I want to.
That's not necessarily how it works, right? A lot of the time we have like instrumental wants. So your like terminal want, the thing that you want, that like more than anything else that you'll do anything to accomplish is this person in the future eating?
Yeah, I want that to happen.
Okay. Then you can, okay. So you're going to continue to value this person even into the future, even though they're going to be a bunch of different people, right?
Yeah.
How do you determine which people in the future to value?
How do I determine? Just based on my wants, right? So I want these people in the futures to do such thing.
So if you were
They don't
if you were
do it,
under
but...
like some illusion, right? And in this illusion, like you were to be I don't know. Let's think of something specific. So under this delusion, you were under the like if you were like schizophrenic, right? And you were happy in your schizophrenic world, but you would never ever have an impact on this world, would you want to stay there?
Sure.
Okay.
I can want that. I could want to stay even if I had no impact on the world. What? Of course.
Okay. I don't understand that, but we can make this something different.
You don't understand it. I mean, sure, you could not understand it. I'm fine with my things not like inherently doing anything.
Sure.
Like, yeah.
I'm trying to find something more specific here because there seems to be this like fundamental disagreement where like here's one. So if you had like a delusion, it had like no effect on you, right? But you could like you could press a button, and you were told that this button would either save like 1,000,000 lives or kill 1,000,000 people, and then you would immediately, as you made the decision, have your memory wiped, so you would never have any feelings about the decision. Which button would you press?
Whatever I want to.
Which one would you want to?
I guess I like 1,000,000 people saved.
Why?
Like, just because I want to. I like it.
Okay.
There's not an inherent reason. I just like it. It's just something I like.
I mean, okay. It seems like we generally don't just like arbitrarily pick things we like, right? We can usually be like,
no, we do. Absolutely. Why do you like the color red?
I like the way that it looks. I like that it's
okay, that's
got
arbitrary.
like
Why do you like the way it looks?
I mean, if we really wanted to, I could get into like a bunch of different color psychology stuff, and I could talk about like the things that I have associated with red in my head, but like it's like a warm, nice color.
Okay, yeah, sure. Yeah, but even if you were to say all those things that you associate with red and like why it's nice and warm and whatever, you still don't have a fundamental reason why you like warm either.
Oh, I think that warm colors can convey certain emotions, and I think that it's good to be able to convey certain emotions in certain circumstances.
Okay, but why do you think it's okay to convey certain emotions?
Oh, because I want to maximize utility.
Why do you want to maximize utility?
Because it's the rational thing to do.
Why is it the rational thing to do?
Because we have certain preferences, and it makes no sense to maximize those preferences just for ourselves, since we don't exist in the future, and we won't experience the satisfaction of those preferences in the future. It only makes sense to satisfy for all experiencers.
Why would that make sense? Why can't you be selective in what you choose? Why do you?
Because I have no reason to.
What if you just desire to?
That would be a reason.
Yeah, that would be the reason, right? So,
yeah.
If you don't desire, like, let's say there are things probably I can make that, like, there are probably people that you don't prefer and you don't want them to gain utility. I think that's fair.
So
right?
yeah, you said earlier that you had a desire to be rational. I wanted to establish that first. And so clearly you don't have that strong a desire to be rational, like, at all.
Okay, yeah, sure.
I would.
I mean, like, I don't think you. Okay, no, I don't even think I said that. I said that I don't ought to do rational or reasonable things.
You did say that, but you said you have a desire to be rational, right? I said we don't need to get into oughts. The question was, do you have a desire?
Okay, well, I guess not. And then I don't have a desire to be rational.
Okay.
Right. I don't think many people do.
Sure.
Regardless, I don't understand why.
I disagree. I think that most people have like they really would like to be rational. They really don't like being told they're irrational or like being irrational. It's just a thing people have. Like, do you want like data on how cognitive dissonance makes people feel? People don't like the feeling of being irrational. People don't like being having it pointed out that they're irrational. It makes them feel bad.
Okay, sure. I guess it makes them feel bad. I don't see why, really, but. Right, like I don't really believe in like reason or like logic.
Yeah, no. If you don't want to do what you rationally should do or what you rationally would want, like if you have no desire for rationality, then I don't know. I guess you can just be You can just be irrational, right? Like there's the same way there's no problem with you if you have like no desire to be rational. There's no reason to do math the way I want you to do it, or to like to come to any true conclusions.
If you want to do the math, then okay, why? Let's assume then that I desire to be rational.
So let's just assume you desire to be rational. Okay, so if you desire to be rational, you desire to have like reasons for the things you do, right? For the things you want, for which drives are more important than other drives.
So the reason would be my desire to, right? I think you said that was the most rational thing you could do, right? Is that not what you said?
That the most rational thing I could do would be to desire? I don't think I said that.
No, that not to desire, but to follow that desire. Right?
No.
Maybe you did.
I think that the most rational thing to do is to follow desires impartially, to maximize good experiences in the form of maximizing liberty.
Okay, but why is that a rational desire? Like, why do you, like, what? That is a desire, though. What? I mean, if you're being impartial to desire, right?
I'm maximizing impartial desires.
Your desire for liberty and utility. It seems like a desire. It doesn't seem like you're being very impartial at all.
What? I'm maximizing desires impartially. Are you saying that I'm being impartial? I didn't come to it from an egoist framework. I'm trying to get you there through an egoist framework. The reason that I want to maximize utility is because it's the rationally good thing to do, right? There's these good experiences that we know are rational. That we know are good because we've experienced them, where we have a memory of experiencing them. Because you've experienced them, they're good, right? They're preferable experiences. Preferable is inherently motivating. Motivating is like what.
But that doesn't mean it's good. Preferable doesn't mean it's good. I mean, good implies morality, which implies ought.
Yeah, I think good is just what we have a rational reason to do.
Why?
That's just how I define good.
But like, why is it good? Like, why would you say rational reason is good?
Because I believe in objective morality. I think that there's like a rational way to do things, and that's
why do you believe in an objective morality?
Because I find that the arguments that I've been giving compelling. The idea that preferences are motivating, because preferences are obviously motivating, and that my preferences are no more valuable than anybody else's preferences. There's no reason for me to value this person that sort of feels like me in the future, that if I think about it doesn't really feel like me in the future. Over anybody else's preferences?
Well, yeah, there's not a inherent objective reason, right? You shouldn't have, I don't believe that you should objectively do things.
Why not? You don't believe you should objectively? What do you think you should, how do you do things that aren't, if you're not objectively
Okay, sorry,
sorry,
I said that wrong. Not that you should, have to objectively... Right, fuck that. Okay, then maybe that's just a weird word to say, or just a weird thing to say. Sorry. Go back. Get us back on track.
Sure. Yeah. So I think that the things that I value are the things that I have impartial motivation to do. The reason that we should be impartial is pretty obvious because there's no reason to value anybody else in the future, and if I want to act with what I have the most rational reason to do, what I have the most impartial reason to do, I'm going to act with the motivations, those preferences, and I'm going to get as many of them as possible for as many people as possible. That's how I would do it as a VNM rational decision.
Wait, you're not selective of it at all? You're not selective?
Nope.
But why? I thought you wanted to maximize... Okay, you don't want to maximize your preferences, but it just doesn't make sense why you would want to... Why, or at least why you ought to maximize other people's preferences.
If you're going to do anything, right, you're going to do what you have motivation or preference to do. There's no reason for these experiences that give you motivation or preference, these preferable experiences to be valued for any future person over any other future person. If I think about it, there's no reason, there's no way at all that I care about this person more than any other people in the future, especially the more that I realize that it's not me, right? So I instead just decide that I want to maximize good experiences for all future people, and that a good experience is going to be that maximizing that good experience is going to be also maximizing the ability to accomplish that good experience.
No, but sorry. That isn't saying, you're just saying you should maximize, preferences, right? But like
Preferable, yeah.
like it's not different than like just like this person that you think is kind of you but not you, right? But how does that actually lead to that, right? Like what you're saying here is it doesn't make sense to me, because you're saying that since this person is not you in the future, you should desire to maximize the preferences of everybody in the future.
Yeah, there's no reason to pick any, like, I can't find any reason to pick any group over any other. If
Well,
you can
if you
give me a
desire to.
reason. I just don't. Like the more
Okay, so
if I think about it, if you like
then you
desire
shouldn't, or
you desire an arbitrary group of people that you like don't know which ones you're gonna desire, other than like certain ones feel like you, certain ones don't feel like you. Here's an example, right? What if you were like time traveling, right? And you saw somebody that you thought was you in the future, and later you found out was your kid. Would you value this person as much as or would you think that it was irrational or bad? Or would you not want yourself to have valued this person?
Depends if I desire to value that person. Like, okay, let's say
Do
I
you?
desire my kid. Maybe. I mean, I kind of like myself, and he looks like myself, so that's the reason I could desire him. Yeah.
Okay. Imagine you thought it wasn't actually you at all, right? Instead, it was just somebody wearing a disguise that you thought was you from the future, and you protected them. Would it be, would you, after finding out, not want to protect him, not would have wanted to protect him or make such a strong alliance, especially if you found out that, for example, he was stealing money from a bunch of other people you cared about?
Yeah, I would probably regret that.
Okay. Why? Aren't you? It feels like you, right? So you're satisfying the thing that the momentary you wants.
Yeah, but okay, yeah, sure. And that's a scenario that me, definitely was fulfilling that desire to protect. But me right now, right, realizing, oh, now it's not desirable, right?
Having full information of the situation, would you have said that it was rational to do so?
Rational. Well, okay. So, now I have to. We'll see what I value more, right? So, do I value the person that hurt my friends and family, or like the people I desire? Even though he kind of looked like me, probably. I mean, I think I probably value, the people like. I mean, I guess there'd be. It's an interesting question, but I think overall, I think since there's more people I desire, I would probably go with feeling bad about it, right? Because I desire. What's it called?
Okay. You would not continue to value this person into the future once you found out they weren't you, right?
Not because they weren't me, but because they hurt people I desire to not be hurt.
Okay, so would you value them as much as you would value future selves if you found out that they weren't you, but they weren't hurting your friends and family?
Sorry, repeat?
Would you value them as much as you value yourself if you found out that they actually weren't you, but they also just happened not to be hurting your friends and family in this scenario?
I think I would obviously. I guess I value that person more than my friends and family.
Even though they were just wearing a disguise that made them look like you, and they don't actually look like you?
Yeah, but in the future, yeah, I'd probably say like, no, yeah, he was an undesirable person. He was impersonating me or whatever.
Well, no, I'm saying, yeah, that once you find out that it's not him, that it's not you.
Well, yeah. Once I find it out, he's no longer desirable. Like, I would think that's a bad act, or like not a bad act, but an undesirable act.
You're only going to value future people who look like you. That's the standard.
No.
Okay.
But
So if it's not that they look like you,
I was just under the axiom that I liked myself, right?
sure.
If I don't like, right?
Yeah. So this is what I'm saying though, is like,
but I would
normal
say that,
people, if they find out like I can't have an effect on myself in the future, like if they were to find out like I'm gonna die tomorrow, they would have like no reason to value them, or not even I'm gonna die the next moment, right? There's no reason for me to value the person that's gonna exist in the place that I am over anyone else. Finding out that this person isn't you, to most people would be like very strong reason to say like, no, this isn't somebody that I can value over everyone else, because there's or even if I did value myself over everyone else, I can't continue to exist in the future. So finding this out and knowing rationally that you don't exist in the future, yet still trying to value yourself in the future, that this is where like the irrationality comes in. If you just fundamentally don't have a desire to be rational or have like reason to the people you pick, we're gonna have this intuitive sense of like, these people feel valuable in the future and these people don't. I don't know. I think you're gonna get into some big issues where you're just like, you're only valuing people who like, who maybe like are really, really close to you, which there's probably gonna be reductios on that you don't like, right? If there were like slavery in another country and you could press a button to end the slavery, even if it had no effect on you, you'd still probably want that button pressed, right? You'd still probably
it would have to, if I desired to press that button, then yeah, maybe. But if I didn't, I don't think I would.
I mean, you keep running down to this, like, if you desired, you would. If you didn't desire, you wouldn't. The point is, like, we need to figure out which desires you're using, right? Because I don't know that you have desires that you wouldn't act on, right? You have, like, conflicting desires.
I don't really. I mean, conflicting desire in like what sense?
Conflicting desire in the sense that you have like you have wants for one things and wants for another thing, and you have to, and sometimes you can't accomplish both of those things. You have to pick between the two things.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sure. I have conflicting desires.
Sure. How do you figure out which desires you want to pick?
It's just simply by what I value more.
By what you value more? Okay.
Yeah.
Like which one? Which desire you have stronger?
If they were completely like, equal desires, I mean, I think they would be both equally rational things to do. Like,
okay.
At that point, I just have to like, I don't think I would do it until like another desire arose, right? To break that kind of tie.
It's gonna be obvious that like you want what you want, right? The question is like, how would you figure out which one you value more? Are you just gonna like, which is it gonna be just the one that you desire more?
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess if you just have no desire to be rational, you have no desire to comply with like morals in my sense. I don't believe that you don't have a desire to be rational, right? I think that if you were to actually realize that this person in the future, or if you were to like actually think about it, right? I think that the reason you do like debates and stuff is because you want to like think about these things and consider these positions and like be a rational person. Unless you have some other motivation for the debates.
No, I guess that is something I'm doing. Currently, yeah, sure. I would say I'm desiring rationality, reason, or logic, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the reason I find is through my desires, right? It's
sure.
A self-authorizing thing.
Right? You're just you're like trying to use this as like this like thought terminating cliche of like, I want what I want, so it doesn't really matter if I exist in the future to value it, because like that feels like me and I know that I want the thing that feels like me. The issue is you do actually want to know what is you, right? What is the thing that you value? And if you don't exist in the future, it seems like insane to just value this arbitrary set of people who like maybe look like you doesn't seem to be at all, though. Like we can go over like just hypotheticals of like which yous you would value if you want to go into like the thought experiment of like, imagine.
Well, again, that was under the axiom that I just like people that look like me.
Oh, why did you adopt that axiom?
Just for the sake of argument.
Okay. I don't want you to do that. I want you to adopt like the things you actually believe, right?
Okay, sure.
So yeah,
So
imagine that there was like a teletransporter, right? And it deconstructed you atom by atom, and it put you on
yeah,
another planet. Would you still
yeah.
value this person that was reconstructed by atom on another planet?
Uh, sure.
Okay.
I mean, I can, I cannot. I mean, like, I can and cannot. Like,
What the question is, can you or can you not? The question is, would you, right? You go in the transporter, right? If you go in the transporter in 10 minutes, and the things you're going to do in the next 10 minutes, are you going to use them as value use them to accomplish things for the you in the future, or are you going to take that as like you die when you hop in the transporter? How are you going to treat that?
well, yeah, I guess I die.
So in that case, you think you die.
I mean, I die a moment from moment, right? Like,
I agree with that. If you're just gonna agree with that, so I guess the question isn't like, do you die? The question is, do you value yourself in the future still? Like, do you still have those desires, that you currently have to value yourself over other people because it feels like you should, or do you have like any other desire?
I don't. It's not that I necessarily desire, like, I don't like inherently desire myself in the future, right? I can do like an act that will be self-sacrificing, or like lead to a self-sacrificing thing of myself in the future, right? Right. I can desire to not have that person exist in the future.
Okay. In that case, I don't know, if you're just saying like you want what you want, and you don't have like any reason to want what you want, then there's just like no reason to take your like ethical system any more seriously than like you want what you want. Which, yeah, sure. But the question is like, should you want those things? There's you want to have certain wants, right? You want to have rational wants.
I just think there isn't like should and ought. Like, it's like kind of impossible.
Why?
Why is it impossible? Like, well,
Yeah.
you can't really prove, or like, it's like, why would you even make a normative claim like that? It's like saying my want is normative. Like for example, it's no different than me saying
I don't think that it's
what
like,
I desire is completely moral.
I'm not saying that like my want is normative, right? I'm saying that there's like an impartial desire that everyone should have, that everyone, if they were rational, would have. Because if they were rational, they would have it. It's what we have impartial reason to do.
Why does it make them rational? Sorry.
It's what they have impartial reason to do. That's what morals are. That's how I define morals.
Okay, but why do you define morals that way?
Because it captures what I mean when I say morals. I think it helps me communicate the idea that I'm describing, and I think that it communicates what most people mean when they say morals.
Good and bad to you? Like, why should I care?
Because it's what you have impartial reason to do.
But like, how can you have impartial reason to do something? What?
You just take the you take like what you have reason to do already, right? Your preferences, your motivations, your morality, and you apply them impartially.
But like,
because
that's not an impartial thing. Like,
how is that not impartial?
Doesn't impartial imply that you're stepping back from it and like saying like, I'm gonna choose? Like what do you mean by impartial?
It doesn't necessarily mean that you're gonna choose. Impartial just means that you're not valuing any person over any other person. That's what impartial means. Or any experiencer over any other experience, or whatever.
Okay, so how can you even like derive any, like, why do you not just do nothing? Right? If you're gonna act impartially, right, and you're not gonna take your reasons into account.
What do you mean that I'm not gonna take my reasons into account?
If you're impartial to your reasons, then why do you?
I'm not impartial to my reasons.
That isn't it? Didn't you just say your definition of good is impartial reasoning?
Yeah, impartial reasoning. So you're not impartial to reasons. You're reasoning impartially.
Okay.
Ooh, okay. What do you not understand?
Like, say it again. Say it again. Fundamentally, sorry. Let me just make sure I understand.
Do you want the whole thing?
Just like the last part.
Sorry. You said you asked. Sorry, what did you ask? I can respond to that.
I asked just simply, what do you mean by impartial reasoning?
Sure. Impartial reasoning is reasoning where we don't value any person over any other, because we have no, and this is rational in and of itself because we have no reason to value any other person over any other.
But there can be reason to like value another person over another, right? I mean,
instrumentally,
do you value a
but
rapist?
I value a rapist in like I value their experience. I think that like we need to do everything we can to stop them from raping, right? I value them not raping because I value the people they're being raped just as much. But I value their experience for sure.
Okay. I mean, I guess, but like, do you want to maximize the rapist preferences? Like,
I want to maximize
wanna
everybody's
maximize
preferences.
everybody's
Chances are maximizing the rapist's preferences is going to be a problem because there's like
a rapist, like,
because
that
A,
can
everybody has like different interests than the interests of one person. B, that person only exists for a very short period of time. And C, maximizing their preferences also probably means making preferences a lot worse for a lot of people for this person in particularly because their preference sometimes apparently is to rape people.
Okay, yeah. Okay, well, can't that, okay, but wouldn't that justify like some things you would find undesirable?
Like what?
Okay, so okay, well, that's
Also,
just a weird argument.
I wouldn't care because it's what I have like impartial reason to do. I care way more about
Okay, yeah, I knew you were gonna say that.
I have the rational principle. Like I don't care about their intuitions in particular cases, but I don't think that there's any intuition we have about a particular case that is like still bad after we consider like the possible scenarios if we adopt the other position. We adopt the inverse or any of the possible alternatives.
Okay. So wait, so your position then is to maximize just like absolutely everybody's preferences, regardless of your preference.
Yep.
To those people.
Yep.
I just don't see like a reason to do that. Like, what's the reason?
There's no reason to pick anybody's preferences over any other. These things that we know that are motivating, these good experiences, these preferences that have like the quality of being motivating. I don't see the difference between it happening in me and it happening in any other person or any other experiencer.
Well, not you, but like you in the future, right?
I really don't see a difference between it happening to me now and me and anybody in the future. I don't see like a fundamental difference between like the value of these experiences of anybody's experiences.
Okay, yeah, sure. Okay. So wait, if you don't value other people's experiences, why do you care about maximizing?
Sorry, I don't see the difference in value in any of these experiences. I don't know if I said I don't see the value in them.
Yeah, no, you did say that. Okay. I mean, okay, yeah, I can see that, but like, I just don't see reason to do that. Like, it just like.
I guess the simplest version would be like you could just say like parsimony, right? Unless there's like a reason to create another rule, there's no reason to add another rule, right? If we should probably just create the simplest system that explains all of our intuitions, or not just that explains all of our intuitions, but explains all of the information that we have.
I like so. Okay. Just because. Okay. So wait. Just because you do not value your rationality. Oh my god, that's such a weird point because like you're just kind of like.
How is it like, weird?
So because you're just not valuing your desires, which is like. I mean, like, you can do that.
Most people, right, have this idea that morality is about valuing, is for everyone, right? Most people don't think morality should be, like, a selfish thing. This is, like, a pretty rare circumstance. I don't understand what's weird about this. Like, your position is the one that's, like, incredibly abnormal.
I mean, isn't that just, like, an appeal to popularity? Like, okay, just because it's abnormal doesn't mean it's wrong.
No, but you're the one who was saying that my position is weird, right? So
okay,
that's
okay. Different. Well, I'm just saying just weird to me because it's like because you're okay. So your assumption is that morality is just what's like what everybody thinks is.
It's not my assumption, it's my definition.
Okay.
Is what we have impartial reason to do. I know I have a reason for picking this definition.
Okay, yeah. Go ahead with your reason again, so I can make sure I understand.
Because it would maximize utility to use this definition, and that's
okay. So
what we have impartial
but that's
reason
a
to
fundamental desire from you, though. You can't say you can't say that like you don't desire something, right? Like you're being impartial, and then you say I want to maximize.
I never
utility.
said I don't say that I don't desire anything, right? What I'm saying is that
Okay,
there's no reason for my desires to be limited. Yeah, all I'm saying is there's no reason for my desires to be limited to the preferences of somebody that kind of sort of feels like me but isn't actually me.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think you should just like only like be preferential to like the person, I guess, in the future. But you should be preferential to what you're doing now.
What do you mean preferential? You should be preferential towards what actions you do, but the preferences you should have about what actions you do should be the ones that maximize utility.
Why?
Because that's what we have impartial reason to do.
Fundamental like desire you have. Are you just kind of projecting onto me?
No,
right?
It's what we have impartial reason to do.
No, well, impartial. You say for in the future, but I'm saying in the current moment.
No, what I'm saying, I value everybody impartially. The only reason I don't value the present or the past is because I can't affect them, right? That's the only reason I don't take them into account. If I could, then I would absolutely value affecting them, and I do value them. There's just nothing I can do to change anything there.
Okay, fair enough on the present and past, but then you're just kind of left with what's current, and currently you're being impartial to yourself, right?
Right. I'm not partial to myself, if that's what you're asking, yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'm instrumentally partial towards myself because there's this thing that will exist in the future that we usually will call the self that I have a lot of influence on, that I can like give an instruction set to, and thus it's like valuable to keep this person alive more than people who I can't give an instruction set to.
Okay, so then do you fundamentally value that person more then?
No, instrumentally I value them more.
Instrumentally, do you value them more?
Do you know the difference between terminal and instrumental values?
Well, do you like what? Well, sure.
So a terminal value is going to be one that you value fundamentally, right? One that you value for the sake of valuing it. Instrumental value is about something that you value in order to accomplish something else. I can, in order to create the most aggregate good experiences, if we value everybody's experiences impartially, I have to value myself in order to have somebody in the future that can continue to exist, that can continue to spread those values of impartially valuing people, and continue to act in ways that benefit people the most, right? I have to be alive to save people's lives. How is it contradictory?
Because you're instrumentally valuing something that
I have reason to instrumentally value something over another. That's not a contradiction. What's the claim?
I guess it's terminally. Okay, yeah, fair enough. In terms of like that, like certain thing, but so so then why do you look at yourself then? My question is, like, with your desires, why do you count them as impartial? Like, why are you impartial to your desires?
Sorry, why do I not? I don't know
why
what you mean.
Why are you impartial to your desires, right?
I don't know what you mean by impartial to my desires. Like, why do I choose the impartial reasons over the partial reasons?
Yeah.
Because I don't exist in the future, and I clearly value things in the future. So I have to pick which things to value in the future, and I don't see any reason to limit the number of things that I pick beyond being the ones that are conscious, because I know those have experiences which can be good and motivating or bad and demotivating.
I mean, sure, like good and bad, like not in like yeah, I understand what you're saying. I wouldn't use good and bad to say that. I could say likable and dislikable, but
Preferable and dispreferable works fine.
yeah, sure. I mean, I guess, yeah. I mean, you can. Yeah, I mean, I don't know why you would like. I just don't understand the like. There's not really like a reason why you would fundamentally like. But like, I guess there would be a
Parsimony
fundamental
is
reason.
the reason why you wouldn't. Is the reason why you would pick this like this larger group, right? You wouldn't limit it down any further because that would require more rules, and it's unnecessary to add more rules to explain our intuitions. So, or to explain the world and the information that we have. Either of these things.
Okay, I mean, it feels like even though like even isn't it just a desire then to be impartial? Like I don't see how why like the only reason you would want to be impartial is because you think it's rational, right? And rationality means you have reason, right? That reason would come from desire, right? So you are kind of not being like impartial in the thought that you should be impartial.
No, the reason that I the reason that it's rational, right? I can give the reason that it's rational, the reason for the action of being impartial is just because we know that we're already acting, right? We already have these good experiences and preferences that are motivating. And there's no reason to limit this set of good experiences that are motivating to any other set. So rationally, taking parsimony, using the least rules.
Of course, can be a reason.
What reason is there?
Desire, like you desire not to.
Okay.
You don't ought to.
So
you don't.
You're
kind of I don't
care about desires that aren't like rational desires, right? Just having any desire, I need to know what the desire is. Is it like a desire that is going to be outweighed by somebody else's desire, right? It's not my desire. It's not even just desires, right? It's preferable experiences, these preferable inputs. The fact that you desire something irrationally doesn't matter to me. The fact that you would desire something though instead that's like that is rationally motivated, that is to say like because it exists within parsimony, right? So parsimony, I don't.
Okay, yeah, sure. I understand what you're saying there, but your fundamental, but your reasoning for why you would do something that you don't desire because somebody else desires something else, right? Like for example, let's put let's say you want a pie, right? And the other person wants a pie. What is like the action there that you do?
I don't know. Are there? I need more data on this. Is it like?
No, it's only that you have two people. Right?
So are you saying that there's no external consequences? Both people are going to value the pie equally,
yep.
And then they stop existing after they eat the pie.
Sure.
Okay. I guess this might be a cop-out answer, but I think that you should probably split the pie because of the.
But you both want the pie.
Yeah, exactly. If you split the pie, then because of just the principle of diminishing returns, right? Marginal utility, each of you will probably get more out of the pie if you split it. But assuming that, like to say, there's a button and only one of you can have the entire pie, I would just say it's a supererogatory action, right? If you both equally value it, if there's like equal amounts of good in the world, there's no reason to pick one person over another.
I mean, like I can't really say that. Like you have all rights, I guess, to do that. I just don't understand like your desire to be impartial in that. Like,
the desire is that I don't exist in the future, right? So I can't value myself, and other than it being me, I don't see any reason to desire, right?
Why do you not see a reason to desire?
I don't have a reason to desire, lacking there is none that I've heard. If you could provide me with one, then maybe I'd have a reason. I don't have a desire to value any set of people in the future over any other set of people. I don't see any reason to.
well, just because you desire to. I mean, it's. I don't think.
Why
I
would
think
I don't have a desire to? Why would I desire to? I can tell you why your desires are
okay, if
irrational,
you don't have a
right?
desire to it, I can understand why you would think
yeah,
that.
I want to
right?
maximize these like, yeah. So I guess I could say that like I used to have a desire to back when I thought that I continued to exist in the future. Then I realized that I don't continue to
Why
exist in
does
the future.
continuing existing why does that matter?
Because there was a point where I valued myself, right? There was a point where I valued myself and the ethical equation, and I thought that I was more valuable than other people just because I thought that like there was like the biological pull to value yourself over other people, and I thought that that was just like part of my inside desires, and I figured out that that was instrumental and delusional. So the reason that we biologically value ourselves is instrumental to the overall goal of evolution, which is to maximize the spreading of the DNA, right? And this spreading of this DNA ends up creating a goal that isn't actually something we value, but it ends up creating this like proxy goal of utilitarianism. This goal of utilitarianism of the misaligned Mesa optimizer is
so, wait. Then how do you describe homosexuality?
How do I describe homosexuality?
Yeah, because they don't spread genes.
Oh, there's social bonding. Having that social bonding is like a positive benefit. Also, I guess occasionally there's just like mutations that like it doesn't hurt to have like some homosexuality. I guess there's like no reason not to. But a major reason that it seems like humans have such
a reason a reason less like they don't have reason.
What do you mean they're reasonless?
Like they're just like defective, right? They
no.
Okay. So what do you think of homosexuality then?
That it's fine, and in fact it's probably good because of the ability to social bond without creating children. It was like evolutionary advantageous.
The evolutionary goal was to breed children.
Yeah, that's positive to the evolutionary goal, because having some people in society who can have romantic relationships that won't develop children, that never will, is like and sexual relationships is one. It makes it so that those people can just get closer together, and two, makes it so that you have somebody to adopt kids if parents die, and that you have somebody who's like able to help with keeping the herd alive without raising children. There seems to be like evolutionary advantages to having like the aunt who can adopt children and take care of things that isn't necessarily tied up in having a family.
So then if we assume infinite growth, and we want infinite growth, right? And let's say like we figure a way to like...
Why are we assuming infinite growth?
Well, you said that the purpose is to what's it called? Continuously breed, right?
That's the thing that evolution selects for. That's not the thing that I'm advocating for.
What? I thought so. What's the point of you saying any of this? What?
So the point was just to explain how it exists, right? It's a misaligned Mesa optimizer. You have like in AI training, you have like Mesa and Meta optimizers, right? And you have the Meta optimizer, which trains the Mesa optimizer with the goal of like training aligning the AI with the goal that it has. But you can have a misaligned Mesa optimizer when instead of accomplishing the goal that the trainer wanted you to have, you accomplish something that has a close proxy to the goal that the trainer wanted you to accomplish, that in the real world will make you accomplish something else, right? This is what happens with humans and the evolution of us, right? We were selected to maximize our DNA. However, the thing that we actually maximized, because obviously we have no sensory input that can show us like where our DNA is, or like how much it'll exist in the future and how much of it passes on to children, etc., etc. Instead, we just had this idea that like experiencers, we wanted to maximize their good experiences, and this like provided a close enough proxy to maximizing our DNA, because humans have the most experience out of any being, and because we're valuing each other and keeping each other alive allows us to maximize those good experiences, right? Having the instrumental value of our spells allows us to do more good for each other in the future. So we have this built-in goal to like rationally get these good experiences, and if we're to follow that rationality, if we're to stick to the VNM rational machine model, then we'll maximize them for everybody.
Okay. So then, okay, but then that brings up the question, kind of for me then, is that, sorry, hold on. Yeah, that since you can influence your future self, let's say, wouldn't that mean you inherently just like value it more, right? Since you have
not
you have much more
inherently,
influence
but
on that than
not
anything.
inherently,
Not
instrumentally. Yeah, you instrumentally would value yourself in the future.
Okay. So then, okay. So then, for the pie argument, wouldn't you just say you would eat the pie because instrumentally?
We removed externalities, right? I said that if I
Okay, yeah, sorry. Okay, you removed externalities. You're right.
if I can
unless
stop
you're-
existing in the future, then I wouldn't value anybody else. In just a scenario
Okay,
where
yeah,
we
sure.
went back to our daily lives or whatever, on average, I'm going to value myself over other people because
Yeah.
because I know that I'm going to accomplish utilitarian goals.
Okay, so, but doesn't that mean you fundamentally would still value yourself above others?
Not fundamentally, instrumentally.
Instrumentally, sorry. Okay. Okay. I mean, like, so, but wouldn't that mean, like, at least as an instrument, you should maximize your preferences, right?
Not maximize. You should probably accomplish some of your preferences, yeah. But you should only accomplish them insofar as they make you more productive and able to accomplish other people's preferences. And
Why does it matter if you're
preferences
productive?
overall.
Why does it matter if
Because
you're productive?
productivity, like in the sense of like being productive of utility, being productive of good experiences overall, that is what we have rational reason to do, is to produce good experiences. I think that it matters if you're productive so that you can make enough money to like donate to the long-termist fund, where it only costs like where there it costs like they don't, but they should. Them whether they do or whether they ought.
So now you're making an ought claim that you should. So wait, but you.
Yeah, because that's what they would have a rational reason to do. People are irrational all the time, right?
Okay. Okay, so then I just don't see like the problem with being irrational. Like it seems like people like being irrational, right?
I mean, if you just want to concede that your position is irrational, and say that like people like to be irrational, I mean, sure. I don't think that they should be irrational. I don't.
Though, right? Like
I think people do like being irrational. I don't think they like realizing that they're being irrational. I think that because they don't like the work that they have to do to be rational, right? They don't like the feeling that that thinking has to do that gives them. They don't like having to do that very much. And also because a lot of people just aren't familiar with the arguments, right? They don't have enough information to be rational.
I just missed what you said.
Sometimes they don't have the information to be rational. But also they sometimes they it takes work to be rational, and they don't want to irrationally. They know that they should want to, but it feels bad to like do the thinking or whatever because they're like bad at thinking, so they don't want to do the thing that makes them feel bad. But so they're just
even assume all of that, right? Let's assume that they even like know that it's irrational, right? And they can still do it. Right, they could still fundamentally do it.
Yeah,
right?
but at that point, they're just existing with cognitive dissonance, right? It's a performative contradiction, and we know that people don't like cognitive dissonance. It's not that people don't like being irrational, it's not that people don't like being rational. It's that they don't like thinking, but they don't like also living with cognitive dissonance. So they have to pick between the two. Most people, and myself included, would say that it's better to be rational than to live with cognitive dissonance, because that's what we have impartial reason to do. I think that like being rational is just what everybody would want, right? And this rationality is as objective as like math. So if like math is true, then it is true that this is what we should do.
But then you're just kind of like it's just like weird because you're essentializing like how do you even have preferences? Why do you want to maximize like people's preferences? Like if everybody maximized everybody's preferences, right? Then that's the only where does the preference even come from? Like you can't have preferences while also like
preferable like good experiences, right? Preferable experiences. So if you're maximizing these motivating experiences, right? The preference to maximize them is going to be very different than like the experience being preferential, right? So the experience itself being preferential is what's going to motivate the maximization, but
Sorry, you just cut out.
The experience itself being preferable and motivating is what's going to lead to the maximization of the what the experience of it being irrational or of it being preferable is what's going to lead to the motivation of the maximizing it, right? Of having as much of it as possible. Because if it's good, then that's like the thing that we want. If we want it, we should want it as much as possible. And the irrationality then is going to be I'm sorry, what were we talking about? I got distracted by Tetris. It's my bad.
That's fine. We were talking about precisely
you were asking about... so you were saying I'm essentializing, like I don't know what you meant by essentializing. But you were asking like if you're maximizing everybody's preferences, then wouldn't everybody, if you're saying that this is like what everybody should have the preference to do, if everybody were to adopt your system, how would you maximize everybody's preferences if everybody's preferences was to maximize everybody's preferences? The answer is that we have these certain experiences that are inherently preferable and motivating, right? These good experiences. And the preference to maximize those... But I mean,
what is inherently preferable?
What is inherently preferable? Pleasure is one of the inherently preferable experiences.
People like, why is that inherently preferable? Oh, like, okay, define pleasure then. Like if you're just defining that as like preferable, then
I like happiness. If you want me to do something more specific, like
okay, well, why is like okay then why do you? Some people don't want to be happy. What?
I gave one example of a preferable experience, right? Some people might have a different experience that they prefer more to being happy, but they would obviously prefer to be happy than to feel nothing, right? What? They would obviously prefer to be happy than to experience nothing, right?
Not inherently. I mean, sometimes I just like if like the choices were to be like to be happy about my mom's death or to feel nothing, I'd probably pick nothing.
So the question isn't like feel happy about something, right? Because this is going to feel, it's going to be happiness subtracted from something else, right? The happiness itself is good, but you're saying you're subtracting the fact that you feel guilty. Well, hold on. Okay, so you're taking, right? This is the trade-off, and we know because you chose to trade it off, and I'll explain that in a second. The fact that you feel guilty about the fact that you feel happy about your mom dying is going to outweigh the fact that you feel happy. You're
I don't feel guilty. Why? Like that's an assumption.
If you don't feel guilty, then why would you prefer not to feel happy about your mom's death if it weren't just for the feeling of being guilty?
I guess it would be to just not want to be happy about it.
Why wouldn't you want to be happy about it?
Why would I?
Why would you want to be happy about it? Because in general, because you probably want to be happy about, you want to just be happy, right? You don't want to be happy about it. You want to just be happy.
Just be happy?
Well, I don't think there's anybody who would say like, no, I don't want to be happy. Like, are you crazy? Do you not want to be happy? Do you want to be sad? Is that what you would prefer? You just would like want to be sad?
Nothing. Well, the two things you gave me was nothing or happy. I don't
so like when I say nothing, I don't mean like you don't like you feel neutral about it. I mean like you're dead. You don't experience anything.
Oh, okay. Neutral. Well. Okay, if I don't experience anything about it, that doesn't imply death, right? I don't think that does.
Fine, we it doesn't, you can just call it a temporary death, right? You trade off those experiences. There's literally nothing, right? Like either you're happy or uh you like just skip forward. And so like we'll say with your mom's death, right? There are two buttons you can press. One, you are happy about your mom's death. The other, you skip forward until whatever the next thing is, right? Like you feel happy about your mom's death until you die, or you just die, right? Which button do you push?
Death.
You pick death. Why?
I don't want to be happy about my mom's death.
I mean,
it's not desirable to me. I don't want it.
Okay. Okay, here's a better example, right? Again, you're adding in this like factor of your mom's death. I don't think that it like it's clear that like you have some emotion about this that's like that's other than the happiness that's like that seems to be making you not want to feel happy about your mom's death, right?
Let's remove mom's death then. If the choice was to be just happy or die, like just like happiness until death for no reason at all, and just death, I think I would just pick death. Why would I pick happiness? Just be happy and then die, or death. I don't think that matters. Like, that's not a meaningful choice.
Okay. So what experiences would you pick over dying, I guess? Here, we'll start with that. Preferable experiences, just to be clear, are going to be the ones that like I can just go to what are the experiences you prefer, right? Whatever they are, they're going to be motivating.
Yeah. Anything that motivates me to not die is what would prevent me from death.
Yeah, so what are the experiences you would prefer over dying?
Probably a lot.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, like, do you want me to just like list anything?
I mean, if you want to skip over that part, we can. The whole point of this was
like, I don't think it matters, right? So
yeah,
it doesn't sound like it matters.
Not particularly, right? Just we know that like some experiences are preferable and motivating, and that we should just try to create those for people, right? We should try and create the experiences that they prefer and that are motivating, that are going to be good for them.
But
for the experiencer.
To even maximize that, right? To even maximize that, it would, like, I would have to prefer it, right? Like, I don't understand.
So,
like,
you would have to prefer the experience, right? You already do have a preference for preferable experiences, but we know this.
Yeah, but why do I have a preference to for other people's experiences?
I don't know. That's a good question. Why do you have a preference for future people's experiences? It seems like these experiences are inherently motivating, right? Right, exactly. These experiences seem inherently motivating, right?
These experiences, well, like, not inherently, right? Some people's like preferences I could not care about.
No, everybody has some experience that they prefer, right? They always want to prefer some experience. There's some set of experiences that are preferable.
Somebody else, like I can not prefer somebody's experience, right? Like I can even the person that's supposedly me in the future, I could not prefer happening.
Sure, and the reason that you're not going to prefer that experience is you're going to experience like a dispreferable experience, right? What I'm trying to maximize is just preferable experiences. I'm not going to feel it.
It's going to be that
that there's going to be the experience of a dispreferable experience, right? And an experience, the fact that it's dispreferable by the experiencer seems to be inherently demotivating.
I mean, sure, but it doesn't seem like I don't see like what's your point, like.
My point is that if it's inherently dismotivating, and again, we don't have any particular reason to value any group over any other. Upon consideration, all of our desires that we have of valuing people over another are either explainable in an instrumental way, or are are just not ones that we would continue to hold to once we realize that we don't that it's not us, that that is that person that kind of feels like us in the future.
Okay, so if somebody has a motivation that I don't like fundamentally like find like motivating, like to me at least, why would I maximize that? Like that person shouldn't be doing that. No.
Like what? What are you talking about?
Not shouldn't, but like I would try to aim to stop that, right?
Get an example.
Some person is going to, I don't know, kill themselves. And,
well, in that case, they're probably just wrong about what the future person is going to prefer, right? In the vast majority of cases of suicide survivors, they regret the suicide later on, right? They say that they're glad that they survived. And because of this, we have like
somebody's gonna kill a cat.
Somebody's gonna kill a cat. Okay, I also think that that this is bad because they're just not valuing the preferences of the cat. I think that.
So you want to value the preferences of literally every single creature. I don't think
every experiencer, right? And I think that you should probably value them to the degree that they have experiences. But yeah, I'm a vegan as well. I think that just all experiences, all experiencers are equally valuable. I don't see any reason not to value all experiencers.
So what happens if you accidentally step on an ant?
I don't think ants have a significant amount of experience, if any at all.
I think they do. Maybe they do. Maybe they don't.
I think the reason that I would say that they don't is that for what we seem to like call an experience, they need to have this this sense of personal identity, at least momentary identity.
Like spirit, what you're saying.
What?
You like spirit?
No, I don't believe in spirit. I just a sense of personal identity, and that doesn't seem to occur unless you have a.
People would define that as that. So.
Okay. Either way, which only seems to exist if you have a well-developed prefrontal cortex, which exists in all mammals, some birds, and a few other animals.
Okay, but everything else, like just like literally anything else, are just like they're just like. You're gonna kill them or whatever.
I think that most of those things, most life provides instrumental value in some way or another. And I don't see any reason to kill it. But I would like to make all experience as good as possible.
So if somebody wants to just eat something without a prefrontal cortex, you just got no problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I guess that's not technically true. Because chicken, that it would not be because it hurts the animal. It would just be because like chickens that don't have a well-developed prefrontal cortex do have the problems of like antibiotic and greenhouse gas emissions that I have a problem with. But
okay, I understand what you're saying there. Okay, so okay, before we went on this vegan talk, where were we?
You were seeing why I value we were trying to figure out the experiences, right? You were saying like, what if they have a motivation towards an experience, and I think that they shouldn't have that motivation towards an experience. The two answers you're going to give me are there's two answers you've given me are like in the case of somebody who's gonna kill themselves. The reason that we stop this person is because they're wrong about what the good and bad experiences will be in the future. It's more likely that they will have good experiences in the future, and that killing themselves will be bad. Yeah, we just know that most people who attempt suicide will regret it in the future.
Like just statistically?
Yep.
Well, what if they're not like? What if they're like the 0% or not the 0%? Sorry, the 1% that doesn't even.
So in rare cases, it might actually be the case that this person actually will only ever feel bad. This person should still probably stay alive because of the good that they can do. Because of the good that they can do for other people. Because they can
what
create.
If they don't?
And if they're not going, what do you mean? What if they don't?
Like, what if they don't produce anything desirable?
That would be bad.
Okay. But so then it's fine if that person kills themselves.
No, I think that they should produce something desirable. If what you're gonna say is
but what if they don't?
Well, that would be also a bad action, right? You're just naming two bad actions. You're naming the bad action of killing yourself and the bad action of not doing good things.
No, but like you're saying, no, then would saving them be the bad action?
Okay. If you know for whatever reason that they're not going to do good things,
Yeah.
and that their life is so insufferable, that for in this like insanely rare instance that like almost never exists in the real world, that they should actually kill themselves, then sure, we can say that like it would be okay to let this person die. This is like this person would have to be going through such immense suffering though that that it would outweigh like any positive experience they could possibly have, which is like so incredibly rare.
You could say it's incredibly rare, but at that, like, okay, I mean, sure, I mean, but then, okay, so then there's like, okay, let's actually look at the suicide statistics. Because I want to just for future reference.
And even those that say that they don't regret it, a lot of them have mental illness that we know makes them irrational, right? We know that it makes them have a very difficult time outweighing like short and long term consequences, and seeing past like how bad things are. So the minority of people who don't regret attempting suicide, the small minority of people who don't, are
in fact,
even likely to be discountable.
90% of all suicides are associated with diagnosable mental health
exactly
disorders. Right. Let's see. Okay, hold on, let me just get through all the projector.
And that's just the ones that we like know are associated with diagnostic mental health disorder. It's possible that there's like situations in poverty that we just haven't recognized.
It seems like they're at a higher risk of developing like bad things, like after they like PTSD, CG. It's CG again.
PTSD can be traumatic for sure. And obviously, depending on how you try to kill yourself, you can leave permanent physical damage too.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So would you think that keeping that person alive, even though like through the
chances are that it's almost impossible that this person's life will be reduced by such quality that that it's like not worth it for them to continue living. It would have to be like such an incredibly rare such an incredibly rare circumstance where they're like paralyzed and constantly being tortured, that like it doesn't actually exist in the real world, and that there's like no significant probability for like a cure for it or any way for them to enjoy their life.
Okay. Okay, sure. Let me just ask one question, just kind of like a little bit off topic. I mean, not off topic in terms of like it's different from the utilitarian, but just like it's just moving on to a separate point. Let's say like a hospital is like definitely going to not exist tomorrow, or like in the next moment, or just say tomorrow. Why not? And you are a person that has organs that are perfectly suitable to save 5 people's lives. Would you do that?
The organ analogy, so in the hypothetical, right? Let's say that this hypothetical, I don't exist tomorrow, the hospital doesn't exist tomorrow, there are no externalities other than the either I get to live in isolation for like the rest of my life, or these 5 people get to live in isolation for the rest of their lives. I pick the 5 people. The issues with this in the real world come with there's like much more effective ways that I can do good if I continue to be alive. It takes $3,000 with the maximum impact fund to save a life, or with the deworming medication. The other method of saving lives would be existential risk mitigation, which we have less empirics for this, but is probably going to save much more lives, just because of the fact that you're preventing the extinction of all of civilization. So the effort per life saved is going to be significantly higher in the long-termist goals. And so
But
there's just way more
wait,
reason for
no,
me to
but
stay alive and accomplish these goals than to try and like just die and give my organs away in the real world. And then
well,
why we
most
shouldn't
people,
require it for people in general, but just be the fact that like people would stop going to the doctor and it would have a lot of negative externalities societally.
I mean, well, they would not. Well, the doctor would be closing regardless.
The doctor would be closing.
Well, let's just say like the doctor would whatever. There's some limited financial crisis that makes them close tomorrow. It could be anything.
But it saves 5 people's lives. Yeah, again, in a hypothetical where like each of us lives out like good quality lives, isolated from society, and is no longer able to do good in any other way after we're survived. I donate my organs. In the real world, where I'm able to save lives much easier by continuing to be alive, it's better for me to stay alive so that I can save 5 lives with the rest of my life.
Wait, repeat that last part, sorry.
In the real world, it's better for me to stay alive in order to save more lives, because I can save lives through the Maximum Impact Fund and the Long-Termist Fund on a much larger scale than if I were to just donate my organs right now.
Why is that? I mean,
because I can save up more than 5 lives worth of money over the next however many years of my life.
I don't know. It feels weird that you have self-preservation.
It's instrumental, right? The self-preservation.
Yeah, I understand it's instrumental to your goal, right?
I mean, it means that more people overall live, right?
Yourself as kind of an instrument, right? It's like you kind of own it in a sense that
I have influence over it.
Yeah, exactly. You have influence over it. And I would also say that like that is like why it's valuable inherently, right? Like these are my hands, right?
I don't think it's inherently valuable. I think it's just valuable insofar
instrumentally valuable.
I can the reason that I value myself is because there's like, instead of trading 1 lives for 5 in this situation, I'm actually trading a lot more because of the lives that I could have saved if I continued to be alive.
But then it just simply seems, well, okay. I guess it's only in that instance though, right?
In the instance of today, where it's like incredibly easy to save lives, and I am particularly motivated to do so, and broadly most people are not motivated towards utilitarian goals. Yes.
Okay, yeah. I mean, okay, it just seems like you somewhat, I guess. It just seems like just such a non-imposition of just like, I don't know, it's something to do with the axiom. The whole reason I find this like a kind of problematic belief is that you're fundamentally going on the axiom that like rationality comes from like reason that has absence, right? It's like
what do you mean reason that has absence?
Like you're not imposing yourself on that reason, like your desires or anything, because you don't see it as valuable.
Yeah, no, I want to do what's like tracking with the world. I don't really care about like imposing some identity on the reason. I just care that like I do what I have impartial reason to do.
But why do you care what you have impartial reason to do?
Because that's
like
that's what I have. That's what I have reason to do.
No, it's not. No, because it's impartial reason. That's a distinction.
Wait, right? I have reason to be impartial, right? If you care, it's just what I have the most reason to do, right? And I have the most reason to be impartial.
Why do you have the most reason to be impartial?
I have the most reason to be impartial because of, again, parsimony. I have no reason to value anybody else's experiences over anybody else's experiences, and thus, I choose the system in which I already know these experiences are motivating, and I value them for myself, and I value them for everybody. I don't have any I don't have any preference in where these where in X, Y, and Z these motivating experiences are, especially since I won't get to experience almost any of them, and definitely I won't get to experience any of them that I actually will have an effect on. So I instead only care about creating the most possible of them.
Why would that
That's the
make you
most
care about the
parsimonious
most?
system.
Like, why would that make you care?
That's the most parsimonious system.
Okay, why does that matter again?
Parsimony, it's a theoretical virtue.
Okay, yeah. Why do you hold that?
Why do I hold parsimony to be a theoretical virtue? Well,
Yes.
one, we can just say, like, we have an inductive case for it. That in the real world, it seems to be the case that things are only as complicated as they have to be to explain the information that we see. That seems to be true as far as we can tell in the cases that we can observe. That is more often true than not by a significant margin. And then there's also just the theoretical virtue of it complies with rationality, right? That's like Occam's razor. That's like widely considered to be a theoretical virtue.
Okay. Okay, but I'm asking, like, particularly by you.
Why I think that parsimony is like rational? I don't know. It seems like It seems like a good razor. Again, we have a inductive case for it, and that it seems to be true most of the time. And also
Why
that we
do you
have
have
an intuitive case for it.
Why do you like explain that to me? What's the reason?
So again, we have an inductive case for it seeming to be true.
No,
right?
no, yeah, I know. Yeah, but
and
I'm
we have an
asking for the
intuition.
reason. Yeah, yeah. What's the intuition?
We have
like, what is your
an intuition that parsimony is true.
Which is what? Like, what is your intuition?
That parsimony is true.
Oh, okay. But why? Like, why do you have that intuition?
That's not how intuitions work.
Okay. Sorry. Explain what an intuition is then, because maybe I just have a different understanding of what it is.
An intuition is a seeming, like it seems true. It feels true.
Okay, why does it seem true then?
It seems true. I do you not believe in phenomenal conservatism?
I mean, explain what that is.
Phenomenal conservatism is the idea that unless given contrary evidence, if something seems true, that is evidence that is some justification towards it being true.
Like, well, how would that justify that? Okay, like link concepts for me.
I guess if you just don't believe in phenomenal conservatism, I'm gonna have to ask how you believe in anything.
How I can believe in anything?
Yeah, how you believe anything exists.
I don't really.
Okay. So then why do you act if you don't believe that you exist?
Because I want to.
How do you know that you want to?
I guess I have an intuition.
Yeah, you have a seemings, right?
I guess I seem to want to act.
Yeah, and I think that like that seemings isn't like a great thing on its own, because we also have seemings towards certain types of rationality, right? Like towards deduction and induction being true. And those seemings seem to outweigh a lot of our other seemings, since those seemings are much more firm than the other ones. Parsimony is like one of those seemings that seems to be much stronger than any of the other ones, in the same way that like the law of non-contradiction or the law of identity are like really strong seemings.
Okay, well, why do you think that? Like, sorry, like, why do you think it's like higher than like just simply like meager desire?
Deliberative equilibrium, I guess, would be the short answer. That I have a much stronger intuition that parsimony is true than that the self exists. The self-existing seems to be more of a conclusion that I can come to, especially the self-existing over time, more specifically, is a conclusion that I can come to, or not come to, right? It's something that I know I can be skeptical of. It's much more difficult for me to be skeptical of parsimony. There would have to be like a lot of complicated things that just don't make sense with the parsimony, and it would be if we didn't accept parsimony, we would basically be able to explain nothing about the world through like the scientific method. We would just like wouldn't have a scientific method anymore. for all these reasons, it just seems like we have like much stronger reason and case to adopt, and much more of our worldview is going to be held up by the beliefs in like parsimony or the law of non-contradiction than in beliefs of like the things that I see in front of me are necessarily true, right? Because we can use like deduction to realize that it's possible that like we're being tricked or something, right? That it's Descartes' demon, and we can use, but we can use induction to say that that's probably not the case. Or actually, that's not true. We can't use induction. We can mostly just say like we can only really use parsimony, right? The idea that that requires more postulation than is necessary.
I mean, I guess, yeah. I mean, true. I mean, would be another question. I might be out of questions, honestly.
Okay, it's been a fun chat.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it was interesting. I'll definitely read into, I guess, reason a bit more.
Reduction of personal identity. There's Parfit and there's another guy that I can never remember the name of. But if you just look up reduction of personal identity, there will be Derek Parfit, and there will be another guy he'll be listed next to that I have good readings on that. Thanks for talking.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Maybe again, I don't know, if I think of a reason why why we should disregard that, I guess. Yeah, okay, see ya.
Alright, talk to you later. That was a little exhausting. Let's talk. Let's talk about it. Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.